And welcome back to Travel Michigan. And our next and final stop for the show is over in the Grand Rapids area also. And where are we going next, Michelle?
We're going to Frederik Meijer Gardens, and we're talking with Wendy Pektunas, the manager of Indoor Horticulture, who is here to tell us about Butterflies Are Blooming, happening now through April 30th. So welcome to the show, Wendy.
Hello. Nice to be here.
So this is something that we hear about and we talk about, but for folks that maybe don't know, tell us how butterflies bloom at Frederik Meijer Gardens.
Well, in our tropical conservatory, which is the largest glass house in Michigan, we have over 15,000 square feet of space in there, and we literally fill it with butterflies. So the way we go about doing that is we get pupae, which is the butterfly in the chrysalis form. That's sent to us from butterfly farmers from around the world, and we hang those pupae in what we refer to as our butterfly bungalow. In there, guests can stop by for viewing. They can watch butterflies as they emerge, and once butterflies have emerged and are ready, we release them into the conservatory.
Yeah, so do you think that people who are butterfly farmers actually have business cards that say that?
Yes, they do.
They
do. As a matter of fact, I've seen them.
You have seen them. What an unusual profession.
I know.
And now you mentioned all over the world. So where do these butterflies come from?
We get the majority of our butterflies from South and Central America, but some of them do come from Africa and Asia.
And the experience, and some people I'm sure have done this at Meijer Gardens and maybe other places, but it is a very cool experience. So talk about what happens when somebody walks into the area where the butterflies are.
Well, as I mentioned, the conservatory is very large, but you can tell just how much of an effect the butterflies have on people by the fact that when people walk in, they'll step in, and that first 5 to 10 feet, people will freeze because there's so many butterflies already right there that they're like, oh my gosh, look at the butterflies, and they hardly even realize that there's, the whole conservatory yet ahead of them.
Right.
But once they get up around that curve and so on, it's just that continued experience. Butterflies throughout. Everywhere you go in the conservatory, there isn't any place you can go in there and not see a butterfly.
Well, and I think, too, having done this before, I think that, part of it, too, is it seems like people kind of slow down because they're so conscious of butterflies all around them. So everybody's kind of doing this kind of slow motion walkthrough.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people you'll see, too, will just, they'll pick a favorite spot in there. They'll have a seat on the bench, and you don't have to walk around to see all the different kinds of butterflies in there. You can literally sit in one spot and pretty much just let them all come to you.
Are there any fan favorite butterflies?
Probably the one that I hear guests awed by the most is the blue morpho. And that one is interesting because it tends to rest with its wings closed. And when it's resting, unless you know what to look for, you don't usually spot it right away. However, when it takes off and flies, it has a very erratic flight pattern, and its wings, the inside color of the wings, is a flashy, iridescent blue, and they literally sparkle when they fly through the conservatory. They flash this bright blue color, and it's just really exciting to see them zoom through.
So, and butterflies, they have a relatively short lifespan, right? I mean, they don't live very long.
That's correct. On average, it's about 2 weeks. Of course, it varies species to species, but on average, 2 weeks is about how long the adult portion of the life cycle lasts.
That's so sad.
Well, but look at it this way, Michelle. They're spending their quality 2 weeks at a beautiful place, and being admired. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's spectacular. And this does draw big crowds, right, at Meijer Gardens?
It does. We'll see over 150,000 visitors throughout the course of the exhibit. So, yes, it's one of our more popular ones. And
this is going on through the end of April, so people have lots of time to get out there to Grand Rapids to enjoy that. But there certainly are other things going on, always going on. We just had a group of riders out there last year who were just amazed because you were always adding more outdoor sculpture. Just talk about the rest of the program out there as well.
Well, we're on 132 acres here, so there is literally something for everybody. Between our indoor gardens and our outdoor grounds, you can easily spend the day here and not see totally everything.
Yep.
Indoor, besides our large tropical conservatory with a butterfly exhibit, we have an arid garden. We have a Victorian garden parlor. We have a seasonal display, which during our butterfly exhibit is hosting a caterpillar exhibit. And then we also have a very large carnivorous plant collection and a small greenhouse that you can view that in. And then on the outdoor grounds, we have an English perennial garden, we have a sculpture park, we have Michigan's farm garden, we have a boardwalk that goes around along a natural wetland area, we have the children's garden, and we're in the process of building a Japanese garden as well. So those are just a few of the areas. There's many more in addition to that as well. So that's just a small taste. But
and I assume, given kind of the cabin fever effect, once there are some warm, sunny days, the outdoor spaces are also very busy.
Yes, actually, even in the wintertime, the children's garden especially, there's a log cabin located within the children's garden. They have a little fire going in the fireplace out there, and you can wander out there, and there's kids' activities within there as well. So even during this time of year, there's good reason to get outside a bit.
Yeah, and then folks, I noticed when we were there last fall, again, there was new pieces being installed. You're always kind of looking to add new things as far as indoors and outdoors. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned one of the current exhibits is carnivorous plants. Is that what you said?
We have a large carnivorous plant collection. That's correct.
Yeah, and so.
Not native to Michigan.
Actually, some of them are.
Are there?
Oh.
Really?
Yes. Yep. We have tropical species as well as ones that you would find in Michigan. So, believe it or not.
Yeah, and so tell us about those.
What do I need to watch out for?
Yes. How close can you get to them? And can you tease them with a stick? And
Yeah. They the thing that I think surprises people the most about carnivorous plants is really literally like how pretty they are. These are plants that want to attract things to them,
right?
So that they can eat them as far as insects go.
Yes.
And to do that, they have some really unique patterning. They have some very really deep red colors around the rims of some of the pitchers as far as the Nepenthes pitcher plants go. The North American pitcher plants, you'll occasionally see those actually used in floral arrangements and such because they have such interesting colors. Everything from lime green to a really nice deep reds that are splattered with white. They're really very pretty. And then, once you get beyond that, it's really fun to learn about all the different ways that plants can capture bugs.
Yes. So yeah, if they're eating bugs, then you don't have to cage them or anything, right?
No, they're in a regular greenhouse space, and fortunately, they don't have feet. So where we plant them is where they stay.
Well, I guess it helps with the bug control too, if that was ever an issue. So
we don't have an issue with that in the greenhouse at all. So
in a separate room than the butterflies, I assume.
Yes.
They are.
Yes.
But I think you bring up a point for people that, like myself, that may look at plants and be able to see their beauty. I don't know a lot about plants. It sounds like you can learn a lot and get some really interesting information at the gardens.
Absolutely. One of the things that I really enjoy about the gardens here is the opportunity to interact with our guests, and I'm always happy to answer questions. Our staff is wonderful about answering questions, and then, of course, we have interpretive signage as well. So as you're walking through, you can kind of self-educate if you choose to do it that way.
And you did mention, there are people there, obviously, at the various stations to explain what people are looking at.
Yep. We have docents that are on staff as well, and they wander throughout the indoor gardens. They wear these big green buttons that say Ask Me, and they are full of information as well.
That's great. Well, Wendy Pektunas, thank you very much for telling us all about the Butterflies Are Blooming through April 30th at Meijer Gardens. Be sure to check that out in Grand Rapids. It's a great place and a great exhibit with the butterflies. And that's all the time we have for this edition of Travel Michigan. Join us next week on the show and Traveling Michigan and Travel Michigan, where your trip does begin at michigan.org.